Hello, my name is Jason Stark, Battalion Chief, Loveland Fire Rescue Authority. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to discuss with you a term that we've integrated here at Loveland Fire Rescue into our operations. That term is fire suppressed. I'd like to go over what it is not, how it came about, and when we would not use it on the fire ground. Over the past few weeks, I've had discussions with a handful of members of the organization that have been either confused or would like deeper understanding, and hence the reason for this video training. So sit back, pay attention, and enjoy. Some of you may have wondered or even asked yourself, why did we add fire suppress to our operations? Over the past 3 years, we've focused hard on integrating modern fire tactics and the science that UL, NIST, and others are sharing with us. One thing that was clearly evident is that if we control the air, then we control the fire. So in the situations of event-limited fire attack, where we arrive on scene and do everything in our power to force that fire into a vent-limited state, or at least struggle to get an air source so that it can grow, we needed a term that allows us to rapidly change our ventilation profile. As our attack companies make their way to the fire, we expect gas cooling and ballasting to occur. And once they're on the fire, they can report back out to their group supervisors that they believe they have fire suppressed. At that point, that term will trigger a rapid change in our ventilation profile and allow us to evacuate those unburnt products of combustion quickly, expediting our search already in progress and further overhaul and salvage operations. A few things that we require of LFRA personnel to accomplish when on scene. If you're part of an initial attack company, we expect a go, no-go decision making at the front door, utilizing your TIC and 3D hose line procedures. Once you cross the plane of that door and enter into a vent-limited fire attack, we expect, if the conditions are present and the temperatures are there, that gas cooling and ballasting are taking place all the way to the fire. That's our means of gaining back real estate that the fire now owns, and hopefully secluding that fire and diminishing it from the point we enter that front door. What does it mean for the support companies? Well, the support companies, when you arrive on scene, typically get assigned two things: flow path and search assessment. In flow path, we want to either force that fire into a vent limited state if it's not, or maintain a vent limited state. We do that by hanging door curtains, door control, and other anti-ventilation type tactics. When that initial attack company reaches the fire and they believe they have a hit on the fire, they need to quickly radio that term fire suppressed out. That should trigger a reevaluation of the structure from the outside, either from command or group supervisor. Once they've agreed to that term has been met, they will radio that to command. Command will then broadcast that to everyone on the fire ground, and we can change our ventilation tactics from anti-ventilation to aggressive positive ventilation. Most likely positive pressure. In some rare occurrences, we may do vertical ventilation. This will allow us to get our sight back, remove toxic products of combustion, and move forward with our other incident priorities: life safety, incident stabilization, property conservation. Okay, now that we've discussed the term in detail, let's take a moment to look at some recent fires that we've ran over the past few years since engaging in vent-limited fire attack. Spruce Drive from 2015, North Madison most recently in 2017, and East Eisenhower in 2016. All three fires contained a situation where vent-limited fire attack was present, and that fire suppressed terminology could have been used or was used to trigger a ventilation change. The hope is to give you a visual opportunity to see the types of changes that we want to see on the outside of a structure, and talk about smoke changes, fire behavior changes that would all indicate that we've met that trigger point term of fire suppressed. Therefore, if you're a attack group supervisor, a support group supervisor, or even command, when that call is radioed out to you saying that we believe we have fire suppressed, you can quickly verify it with previous experience and make that tactics change as quickly as possible. Okay, right here we're looking at Spruce Drive fire. As you can tell, it's clearly a vent-limited fire on arrival. Fire is center building, Charlie side, and the exterior lines are being stretched to do an exterior hit on the fire. As you can see, the support companies are aggressively at work, hanging door curtains, closing doors on the 360 to keep the fire vent limited state. I want you to pay particular attention to the smoke. Smoke coming from the eaves and the door has pressure. It's clearly defined as crisp lines, an indication that it is high heat and that the fire is growing. As you can see right now, we start to see a change in smoke. The exterior hit has been made on the fire, and the officer and firefighter on the Charlie side did a great job gas cooling and thermal ballasting the smoke in the structure from that position. Smoke's lost its definition and it's hanging low, an indication of cool, high humidity smoke. Very difficult to reignite and cause us a problem. At that point, the officer could have called fire suppressed. Command would have then confirmed it and reiterated to the support companies. They then could have pulled the curtains. Interior search crews could have opened up as they went, and positive pressure ventilation could have been applied to expedite search and further fire control procedures. Okay, now we're looking at East Eisenhower fire in 2016. As you can see, again, another obviously vent-limited fire. Even though the windows were taken out prior to arrival, you can see that there's not a lot of activity coming from them, and the smoke is indicating a vent-limited fire state. Please pay attention to the smoke though. Again, just like the last video, the smoke is defined, it has crisp lines, and it's going aloft as soon as it exits the structure. Indicates a flow path discussion of bidirectional in those windows. All other openings to the building are closed. I'm going to fast forward now and we'll look at the smoke after the initial hit. So the interior crews are now inside. They've made a hit on the fire. You're going to see the smoke's changing. You get some billowing smoke. It's lost its definition. It's also rising slower and hanging low, an indication that we already have some thermal ballast in it. The crews did a good job after entry, thermal ballasting the gas, the smoke and gas columns, and made it a quick attack on the fire. This fire also, they did not call fire suppressed. It wasn't part of our terminology at that point. However, they did call for ventilation once they were sure that they had a line on the seat of the fire. The house was full of debris and it took them a little bit to get there. As this video progresses, you'll see some anti-ventilation tactics being put in play where we're trying to button up those windows during fire attack. Fire suppressed is met or is quickly being met and could have been called out, confirmed by the exterior group supervisors, and we would have forgo the application of curtains in those windows and aggressively worked on ventilation. In this case, the crews worked interior for some time with low visibility. Searches were taking place, and we had met the criteria to ventilate that vent-limited fire. I'm going to go ahead and let this play for a little bit. You can watch it play out with some of the anti-ventilation techniques, and then finally they opened that A-side center door, which was the door near the fire room. Okay, we fast forward a little bit here. So you can see we still have no indications of any kind of working fire inside the structure. We saw the initial hit earlier on, and at that point the crews were on the scene of the fire. They still were dealing with low visibility and a lot of debris in their way, so they delayed calling for ventilation. So crews on the exterior, our support companies, were continuing to follow the path that we've instructed on vent-limited fire attack and continue to button up the structure by controlling the air to the fire to ensure that no growth was taking place. At the time of this fire, we had not introduced the term fire suppressed. If it would have been called at this point, the firefighter you see there would not have put up the curtain and could have aggressively started a positive pressure fan on the Bravo side and opened up any necessary openings to evacuate the smoke, further expediting our fire attack, search, and fire control. Okay, here we're going to take a look at a recent fire we had on North Madison. We're going to talk about a few techniques or tactics being applied. One of them you're watching right now. We encourage our firefighters that if fire is showing, that's where the first line goes, and they are to make a exterior hit. Water on any visible fire can only be a good thing. However, looking at the application of that water, it was less than optimal. What we know is if we keep straight streams, we don't disrupt any thermal layering or condition. However, that stream of water passed straight through the gas column in that room, either hit the back wall or went into another room. And as you can see, the fire returned immediately after he shut the water down. It isn't until you get in close and make a more direct hit with a more open pattern that you get true fire control. We have introduced fire suppression to the organization at the time of this fire, and it was called later on in the incident. One of the questions that came up was, when can that exterior position call that, and what are the indications we're looking at? As you're going to see in this video, he's going to get right up in the room with that hose line, makes good fire attack on all visible fire, has good access into the room, and can look at the entire side of the room. The officer can come up and take a peek in with his tick and take a look at it. We have no other smoke conditions anywhere in the house to indicate that we have pockets of stored fuel anywhere else. Even at one point, the support officer opens the front door to conduct some vent limited tactics and go in for search, and no smoke return comes from that door. All an indication that we are already past that fire suppressed state. In this situation, the first due attack officer could call out to command, say, I think we have fire suppressed. Command looking at the structure and at that front door when it opens, we'd confirm it, and aggressive ventilation tactics could have been employed to expedite all the other aspects of what we were trying to accomplish. There you see the front door opening, little or no smoke comes out, but we're still in a vent limited tactics mindset. The whole point of fire suppressed terminology is to switch us out of that mindset quickly so that we can expedite the other tactics we're trying to accomplish on the scene. Well, that includes the training on the term fire suppressed and how it fits into Loveland Fire Rescue Authority's operations. Thank you for your time. Go out and train hard.